Hello, this is Team Fairness. We are inviting everyone to join Team Fairness, to join us, so that we can implement the World Fairness Agreement. We all count the same. We're all one family, all the humans. And we'll be able to stop the insanity of killing each other in wars. One group trying to dominate, defeat the others. So I'm guilty of using that language also. I've been talking about defeating the people that aren't in Team Fairness. That's not what we want to do. We want to invite them so we stay friends with everyone. So there's been a change recently. I've rewritten the startup paragraph and the other writing on the website, and my recent videos reflect this, and my recent blog posts reflect what I'm talking about, that we're not against others, we're just inviting them to join with this group, that we want the right to not be done wrong by anyone. So we agree to not do others wrong. So it's the golden rule. People have pointed that out, and I've noticed that myself, that the archaic language, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So that's in my old language. So how would you say that? It's like, what is important is to understand it. If you understand that there's a reciprocal phenomena, like if I hurt other people, they're not going to hesitate in hurting me because I hurt them. So we can understand it. And I think understanding is very important. And there's a force, there's a power, a mind, a collective mind, that does not want us to understand. They don't want us to know the truth. So I'm explaining that truth is what happens to us. Truth is what we're experiencing right now. Our mind, our brain makes a representation of what's actually there. Like the world's there, the stars are there, and our mind makes a representative image that we experience with our mind. Isn't that awesome? So we can see, we can hear, we can touch, we have the senses, we have the ability to communicate and understand things. So I'm going to say that the truth is what is going to happen to you. It's going to be the truth. And the truth is something that's hidden, and it needs to be hidden. For example, your personal information, your credit card numbers, your social security number, the numbers to your safe, to open the safe. So this is secret. It's nobody's business but yours. You're the only one that has right to this private information. And that's the way it should be, because right now it has to be that way, because we have people that would steal. Maybe there will always be people that would steal. I don't know. But if we all agree to not do others wrong, that might change drastically. So, we have this collective that protects each other's privacy. It's nobody's business. What you did in the past is no one's business. And everything's forgiven when you agree to stop doing people wrong. So that's the basic of it, and I've explained that a dozen times. And so what I'm thinking about today is how humans are not allowed to understand the truth. The people in control do not want you to understand how they're controlling. They don't want you to know the truth. So we have hurricanes. There's another one going to hit Florida, most likely. The last one was like majorly destructive. Hundreds of people got killed. And this did not happen when I was a kid. So global warming is a thing. It's true that our climate has changed. We don't need to argue about words and what they mean. This is just general knowledge. So the ocean level's coming up. I saw Inconvenient Truth, Al Gore, and his worst case scenario is basically what's happening. And back when that came out, the people that have been trained to disagree with the fact that greenhouse gases cause global warming. We were taught that when we were in school when I was a child. When we had our very first science classes in elementary school, it was in the science book about greenhouse gas increase. And people use the Bible to disagree with it. They say things like, only God can change the climate. It's not true. So, why is it that we're not allowed, or we don't want to admit the truth? Why are people against the truth? Is what we're doing is we're destroying ourselves. And the people of the Bible think that this is what's supposed to happen and that God is going to save us. Well, what if God saving us is me telling people this? See what I'm saying? I had dreams that I'm in the role of Christ. So my opinion is that when you're anti-truth, Christ represents the truth. I am the truth and the way. So maybe there was a real Christ, maybe not. Who cares? Some people care. I accept whatever is the truth. That's what I mean. I don't care what the truth is because I have to accept it totally. So whatever that truth is, I don't care what it was. I don't know it yet. I don't know the truth of it yet. If I ever do know the truth of that, I would totally accept it. I won't argue against the truth. That's anti-Christ. When you argue against the truth, you're anti-truth, therefore anti-Christ. So, why is it that we're not allowed to speak the truth, stand up for the truth? I had a serious, like a panic, struck me earlier about how I'm surrounded by people on planet Earth that are against me speaking the truth. They want to silence me. and I feel like my life's in danger. I just heard that telepathically that there's going to be a murder, and it's going to be me. So that would explain the panic that I had. It's fear is something that is well, the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous says fear should be on a class with stealing. It seems to cause us more trouble. So there's another thing about Alcoholics Anonymous in the book and where it came from. Bill Wilson, that wrote the book, Bill W., he was not of the mind to have any appreciation for religion or for believing in God. And so he was dying of alcoholism, and his friend came over that he'd known for years, I suppose, and told him, why don't you come up with your own concept of God or higher power? So atheists were welcome at AA because they didn't have to have a concept they didn't have to call it God. They could call it whatever they want. And basically working the steps is you stop doing people wrong. That's basically what happens. So what I'm suggesting people do with team fairness and my philosophy is the same. The root of it is the same. Now, there are people that claim there are spiritual truths and there is ordinary truth. And there are two different things. I don't think so. I think truth is truth. The truth we learn from science is just as sacred as the truth that we learn from the guru. So what the truth I learned from the guru was that everything is one thing and it's all powerful. And when you are devoted to it and accept it, accept everything that happens as being the will of the all-powerful, then your life changes, miracles happen for you. There's intervention. So that's ordinary truth. It's not some special spiritual truth. It's ordinary. There's only ordinary truth, and it's wonderful. The truth is, it's incredible that we're here, that we can understand, that you can listen to me is incredible, that we can see the stars. So the spiritual truth that religion has decided to keep separate so that they can see, they have it. They have the number to the lock, and you have to do what they say, and they'll let you open the lock and get, maybe you're lucky to get a drink of water when you're thirsty. And basically, they're helping the elite people hoard all the wealth of the world. So the Gnostics said there's an archon, a cruel ruler, and it was the God of the Old Testament. And so it almost became the new religion back at the time Christianity happened. But the Roman Empire took over and used the old God as a tyrannical ruler to rule the people. If you don't surrender to that God, they'll chop your head off. They'll stone you to death for blasphemy. So that's what happened instead. So we didn't get free of human nature being dominated by bullies. The knowledge was coming from the stars to get the humans to see that a God like is depicted in the Old Testament, and they created the Old Testament God as a reaction to the other tyrannical gods that were surrounding them. So it's not just the Jewish people that came up with the tyrant God. The tyrant gods were already in force. That's why they just copied the model. Then Islam comes along and copies the same model again and calls it Allah instead of Yahweh. And they say it's the same one God. So we have this situation where humans have gone off track. We're on the path of destruction, where we could be on the path of correcting all human-caused problems with unity, world unity. There are people that are dead set against world unity. Isn't that strange when you think about it? We're taught from generations past that the other people are evil. So if, like say there's a non-white person listening to this, and he's listened to this from someone that he was taught is evil. So we have to put that aside, say, wait a minute, there's a truth to this. We're all the same humans, genetically. We have different traits. People in one family have different traits. And we have fights in families of someone dominating and feelings are hurt. And there's things we can't talk about that's like, If we use this privacy, it's none of your business mentality in a positive way, so we're protecting each other from anyone doing anyone wrong. From a child to the parent, or from the parent to a child, or from siblings to siblings, and from one person to everyone else, and from everyone else to one person. So every one of us is the most important one. Is that possible for everyone to be the most important one? Yeah, if we all count the same, then we are the most important one. You are the most important one here. And it matches science. It matches the sacred spiritual truth. It's the same thing. Non-locality is that one thing is everything else. Like a hologram. The universe is not a hologram. The hologram is a metaphor. The universe is like a hologram, where you take sections of the hologram and the whole image is represented in each of the parts, but with lesser detail. That's how holograms actually are. So every atom is everything else, and everything else is the one atom. That's non-locality. That's the fact of our reality. They have determined with science that local reality of individual things is not real. It doesn't make sense. We've got that far advanced with science that we're demonstrating the spiritual truths that humans were taught. Who taught us? Angels. What are angels? I'm arguing they're extraterrestrials. We live in a real world. It's not created by the words written in the Bible. The Bible's within the real world. And you see humans have been taught by something unknown that gives us knowledge there's no way we should know. It's not that we shouldn't know it, it's that we couldn't know it on our own without somebody more advanced telling us, like the dog star, Sirius, and the other star that's there. We can't see it unless we have telescopes. People knew about it before we had telescopes. So these advanced beings tell us things like that. Strategic things that when we realize that it's them that's told us, then you can understand why they used that particular star, because they knew at a certain time in the future we would be able to understand what they were talking about. We didn't even know what stars were when they told us. See what I'm saying? So they couldn't just show up and say, what God is just this oneness of the universe. And the spirits I'm working with, the extraterrestrials, they don't think it had a mind. So there's energy in the first place. And all of it is non-local. It's one unit. So this energy got organized into mind via evolution, biological evolution. As soon as you have a mind develop through evolution, it's non-local. We're already connected to the universe. There's no choice in this. We are that. That is us. So the spiritual teacher explains that to the person, that all of this is God's will and you'll be taken care of it. By who? By these angelic extraterrestrials that can intervene, that comfort us, that are within our heart. So the God comes into the heart with Christianity and with Hindu, with Islam, and people have this ecstatic experience of merging with the God merges with them. The kingdom's within. And people can experience that. The peace that passeth understanding. And you can't put it into words, but you can experience it. And you can put it into some words like I'm doing here. We can explain it to some degree, but you can't explain being the whole thing when we're not the whole thing. We're individuals having the perception that we are totally individual, separate from others, separate from the world we come from. That doesn't make sense. Human bodies are the earth. The brain is the earth. So we're like the eyes of planet Earth, and so are the dogs and the cats and the other animals. So when you start learning that this universal knowledge is here for us to experience and see, you'll see that the dogs have it, and the cats, and the other animals. They have this universal God knowledge within them. So when things are going bad, all the dogs are suppressed, and they're like, they go into a patience mode, and they're like just tolerating what's going on, trying to have fun. And then the oppression breaks free. Like people will see a video I have. This is like a parable of what happens with the dogs. The dogs sense it, that we're close to defeating the Archon, the tyrant ruler that beats them, hits them with sticks. And the peaceful mind is going to take over, and the dogs won't have to suffer abuse anymore. And they all get excited, and they're all barking like crazy all over the neighborhood. They feel this energy shift, and they all start barking. It's incredible. They have one mind, just like us. So we're taught that it's wrong for the dogs to bark. How sad, because they're communicating something wonderful. They're not like mean barks. They're like warning bark. There's careful, there's danger, but we got the upper hand now, and we're excited, and we'll keep barking at the danger. We're on the same team as the humans now, finally. And then the tyrant power takes over again, and the dogs go into patience mode, maintain mode. And they hope they don't get beat again. So the dog is trained to attack the person of truth by the people of falsehood, the Antichrist people, the people that are anti-science, that are anti-knowledge, that want all knowledge coming from their leader, the Lord of the Bible, which is Donald Trump, for example, or Hitler, as an example. Stalin is like the God of the Bible, but he doesn't use the Bible. Allah, same God, tyrant. But in the Bible, you can see the other type God is there too. So, we've been taught a lot of bad stuff. And we've been taught that if we ask questions or if we understand the tyrant ruler, if you see through him, he'd probably kill you because you can understand him. We're trained to not understand. We have to play dumb. So when people say humans cause global warming, all the people that are under the thumb of the tyrant, and they become tyrants too, they're created in the image of the tyrant God. They totally deny. That's blasphemy for you to talk about this. They shut us up. Nobody's even talked about global warming caused by humans in relation to that hurricane that killed hundreds of people and caused billions of dollars worth of damage. They have got the scientists silenced. So what's going to happen next if ignorance rules? It's like Zach from Rage Against the Machine said, if ignorance rules, life is lost. And then the people that have been dumbed down, that are antichrist because they're anti-truth, they'll say Zach's of the devil. It's the exact opposite. And Revelation says that. It's the opposite. So we have religions telling us what God said is right and wrong. God told me that they're wrong, that they're antichrist, that the religions are the antichrist. That's what God told me. So anybody can tell you what God said. What's God? No one knows, really. It's the cause of reality. Did it have a mind? My extraterrestrial friends don't think it did. We have a non-local mind, and it's extremely advanced when we're connected to them. They can answer my question before I even get finished thinking of the question. And they've already told me in telepathic thought the answer. And I'm like amazed. Wow, they can think so fast. Well, maybe they're wrong. And if they're wrong, they would totally accept. They would find some evidence showing them that there was an infinite mind before anything else. And reality, there is no physical reality. It's all this infinite mind. A lot of people think that. They think that consciousness creates reality. I think reality creates consciousness, and consciousness is automatically non-local and one with the reality that was created, that created it. So what I'm saying is atheistic. So what? What if it's the truth? The truth is sacred. When you don't think the truth is sacred, you don't think the world is sacred, and you go ahead and you keep doing stupid things and destroying your own home. We're becoming so overcrowded. Humans are changed. There's no peaceful joy. Everybody's stirred up. And we use distraction. Alcohol. We stay sober long enough so we can get drunk. So we have to pay the bills and then we go to get the alcohol. Or sexual pleasure. Playtime. So we have no sexual feeling so we can get more sexual feeling. It's an addiction. And that becomes the purpose of life, is to supply the addiction. Power addiction. they're not in power for a little while, and then they take some action that puts them in power over people, and they're as the CEO or as the leader of the religion or as the ruler of the gang in the street gang. So the purpose of life is to stay in power over others, to dominate other people. It's an addiction. So if we don't invite everybody to unite as equals, as counting the same, we all don't run as fast as the next guy. So we're not equal. But we count the same by our choice. And it's a fact that we're all humans. So that's why we count the same, because we're humans and we want humans to have a good life. That means you and me and everyone else. So love your enemy. That's what the Star people told us a long time ago. And they serve the all-powerful, and so do I. We don't care if it had a mind. We serve it anyway, because it's the foundation for our existence. Without it, without the material universe, we cannot exist. Without energy, you can't have an energy arranged into mind. And mind is basically our sense of self. It's the I am, the consciousness. And a lot of us think that we all share the same. It's not like we're sharing it. That consciousness is what everyone is. And where'd it come from? It came from the first mammal or reptile that had a brain advanced enough to have this sense of I am. And there's the world, and if I don't do this and this, I'm in trouble. And we start thinking about how to not get killed, so intelligence increases in some situations, like it did with humans. We ended up standing up on two legs, and so it freed our hands, our front limbs, to make tools. So that's a lot of why humans became more intelligent. And language, once you create a language, then there's the need to have more intelligence to more effectively use this wonderful tool, like the hands that make the tools, and the language is like a tool to understand. We can warn the other people there's danger over there with words. So it becomes very effective to be able to interpret what our senses are showing us. And the bully, see, it's not normal. Bullies in normal life get overthrown by the group. They don't dominate like a bull elk or something, the alpha male of the elk herd. He's not dominating the whole herd. He only fights because he's told to for the breeding purposes. That's, you know what I mean? It doesn't become the sole ruler, total control of all the elk in the herd. When animals do that, the herd throws them out. They turn against them. So that's what we got going on with people. We have authoritarianism trying to rule, and it will tell you what the truth is, and if you disagree, you're in trouble. You're not allowed to speak the truth. So the Bible became authoritarian. The God of the Bible became authoritarian. And so the Gnostics came along and explained that in mythological ways. And it talks about this higher God that's of love and compassion. Anyway, the same thing's taught in Buddhism and the Hindu religion, Sikh religion. Satanism is about having a group that you're with, that you care about, you have something in common with. So what is evil? Evil is when you do someone wrong. I figured it out. Have a great day. I love you.